Roger Heimli, you are the second vice president in the Norwegian Confederation of Trade Unions in Norway. The Norwegian Confederation of Trade Unions, known as LO in Norway, is the largest and most influential workers' organization in Norway. You've had a strong position in our society, and the organization has shaped the Norwegian workplace and the society's development for over 100 years. Can you explain to us what exactly is the Norwegian model?
The Norwegian model is, first, it's unique, but it's depending on a three-part cooperation. You have to have a strong workers' union, labor union. You have to have a strong employers' union. And you have to have a strong and active government. And that three-part cooperation builds a united understanding of the Norwegian society, the economy, in how is the Norwegian country and economy goes, and what kind of salary do we able to bear in the economy. And when we agreed of the rules, and then we have a cooperation that negotiate afterwards. And we have trust in that cooperation and respect. And we also have the possibility to be disagreed. But we are agree about the rules, the playing rules for the cooperation. That's unique by the Norwegian models.
But how is it that labor unions have come to be more concerned about lack of transparency in our society today and in financial markets?
Transparency to all the societies, if you want the society to build on trust between the government and the society or the people, you have to have transparency in all kind of in the whole society. So when someone is trying to hide something, would it be the corporation or political or whatever, then the amount of trust is decreased, and that's dangerous. The Norwegian model is built on trust, and then you have to have transparency through all the society.
But today, half of the 100 largest economies in the world are multinational companies. They are almost corporate states in themselves. How does this influence power relations?
A nation and a society is built on political statement, political power. And when companies are getting stronger and can influence on the political decisions, that's dangerous. Then you lost the trust in the political system. The political is chosen by the people to rule the society, and corporation or the borders and the stockholders made a decision. So it's we are afraid of the development in that the corporation are getting so strong worldwide. But we also notice that the different countries and society are getting aware of it, and it's a political change to take back the power to the public elected governments.
Norway has always been a highly organized country and society, but unions today, they face very many challenges, also relating to a high degree of union membership. What could this mean, together with powerful cooperation, for the Norwegian model?
As I said, the Norwegian model is built on a high grade of organization, both employers and employees. We see a small change of the number of employees organization. It's not much, but it's a trend that the number of organization is going down. In traditional workplaces, the challenge for unions in Norway, both employers, employees in Norway and Europe, is that the new kind of workplace don't have a tradition for being organized. And we also see that in the education for children from kindergarten up, they don't learn anything about the workplace, the work life, and the organization. You see it on TV. But the biggest challenge is the new kind of workplace where we don't have a tradition to be organized.
Mm. But company, they often claim that workers are their biggest asset. However, we have seen in the recent years that salaries have been falling. Companies are getting bigger, but often wages and pensions for the workers working in those companies are falling. So people have less income. And according to the OECD, salaries have been sinking from, for example, 66% of national GDP in the 90s to 62% in the 2000. And in the US today, a person would earn less today than they did 40 years ago. Why is this happening?
That's happening because, again, the government, if you have a philosophy that the government are not supposed to increase, have any meaning of the salary in a society, and you have a weakness organization, then the corporation makes their own statement. They decide what the salary should be, and that's again the forcement between workers and employers. The union are a strong force to have different kind of skills to make power behind the claims, and then you can force the salary up. And if the unions and an organization going down, you don't have the strength to climb the salary when we mean the workers should have. And again, if you have the three parts corporation in Norway, the state are active government in that negotiation to make the rules around the negotiation. And that's the big difference. If the company and the corporation decide everything themselves, the workers lose. And we see a race to the bottom in the competition between different countries and the companies. And it's always the main claim for the companies is to raise the income for the companies and the stakeholders, not for the workers. But we see now around the world it's about to change, because it's so many people that can't live off one salary. You have to have 2 or 3 work place and almost work 24 hours a day to make an income to live off. So we see a change, and again the union is important, very important.
But when the middle class is in decline, as it has been described as being, and the median household incomes are dropping, there are also fewer possibilities for so-called upward social mobility, and perhaps also when the middle class is stressed, they are less inclined to share the ladder of opportunity with those below it. And does such mechanism also affect labor unions and the willingness to be in solidarity with others?
Again, if you inside a nation and society have a high rate of trust, you have a high rate of organization. But you have to have the trust inside the society between the government, the employers, and my own life. Then that we see when the trust disappear, then the organization disappear, and then we also see the middle class. Historically, that the middle class is where the union is strongest. But we also see in many countries the middle class is decreasing. It's getting lower, and all society have one poor group, a middle class, a big middle class, and you have some very rich at the top. And it's the balance between those three that we now see in many countries are changing. The amount of poor is getting higher, and the middle class is getting less, and that's where the money usually are to have a society go round. And of course, if every corporation, if you don't have any citizens in your country to spend money, what is the company supposed to do? But that's where an active government is coming in. You have to have political statement of the rules inside the economy. And that's, again, the strength of the Norwegian model. That's the discussion between the three-part corporation to find the best solution for Norway as a society, as an economy, our place in the world economy, and so on. So.
There also seems to be a push, sometimes also political, that people should start up their own business. It sounds very positive, but also that more people could become freelancers, and they could look at different workplaces as their own personal investment portfolio, so to speak. How does the union think about this type of push?
One employed company, there have always been, and it will always be, and we need them. And we should not say you're not allowed to do it. But what we are worrying about is that the race of we're going from the big companies, the big employers, where you have stable environment. You have trust for income, and you have a system that manage the Norwegian model, where we have an employers for some part of the three-part corporation. If everybody should have their own company, who are the employers? How should you have collective bargaining with 1 million employers? So we don't like. Someone says it's a great thing to own your own company, yeah, for someone, but that should not be the main rule in the Norwegian workplace. Should be big companies and governments, of course.
So, an ordinary working person in Norway would pay everything between 25 or 30% and up to 50% of their salaries in tax. But tax has become more and more a voluntary thing for big corporations, and some are not contributing almost anything to the Norwegian society. What exactly is the labor union trying to do about this?
Of course, the way we look at society, of course, everybody who works and have an income should pay taxes. That's part of the Norwegian model, to pay taxes and spend it on the municipalities and so on. But again, a nation is built on, if I want to pay taxes and have a trust that the money is spent the way I want, then you have a high rate of trust in the society. But if I have to pay, and I see that some companies and some very rich people don't have to pay, then why should I pay if they don't pay? So we are working in that political, and of course we are depending on what kind of party is running Norway. Is it the right-wing party? They don't want companies to pay taxes, but I have to pay. or you have a social left-wing government who says that I pay my share, but everybody else have to pay their share. So we are working political, and so of course that it's our statement. But we have to have, we are depending on a government that see the same as we. That's the way to do it.
And how do you feel the government is responding to your expectations now?
The right-wing government we have today are giving less tax rate on companies and the riches in Norway. Ordinary workers don't. We don't get the same rate of reducing tax, but we have to pay it in other part of the economy. So we don't get much help from this government. That's where we we want a new government, left-wing government.
The price we pay as a society, it's not only the billions of taxable profit being lost from our countries. The price we pay is also the government's lack of will to do real changes. And political participation trust is perhaps seen to decline. And are the unions also experiencing a lack of trust in the ability to deal with this new type of political environment or work environment?
We see it again in the workplace where it's a tradition to have strong unions. You have shop stewards and you have employers that share our philosophy of the Norwegian model. We don't see it, but again in a new workplace that don't have the tradition, we see that much more.
The connection between the widening inequality and democracy, it has been known for a long time. It is said that we may have democracy or we may have great wealth concentrated in the hands of the few, but we cannot have both. What are the important battles for the labor union in the coming years in Norway?
Oh, it's many. The first is my experience is with, even with this government, they don't dare to change some big things inside the Norwegian model. They are depending on it to survive. The Norwegian people want the Norwegian model. But we see struggles in some political different issue concerning the workplace, the rules against the work time. We have some struggles between the EU that will come. So we have some struggles. But again, if this government we have today wins the next time as well and getting bigger, then we have some other challenge.
Can you say something more about that?
My concern is if this government wins once again, they will change the fundamental rules inside of the Norwegian model. The things that make the union strong, the rules for to be organized, they will change little here, little there of the
Vi bare kutter, og så opptaket, og så tar vi bare en ny take.
Ja.
Og så bare...
Jeg var ute etter verktøy.
Ja. Tools.
Tools, ja. We have some.
Startopptak igjen. Vent litt. Startopptak igjen. 1, 2, 3.
We are depending on some tools for the union to get the workers to understand it's a good thing to be organized, and this government take away our tools little by little, and then we don't have any tools again, and they change the economical system, that the richer are getting richer, they don't have to pay, and the workers have to pay. Then we lose the trust in the Norwegian society.
There's been a huge campaign in the US from corporations trying to strip the labor unions in the public sector of their right for collective bargaining. Do you see that in Norway?
No, as I said, the fundamental of the Norwegian model is the collective bargaining. So it's only the Liberal Party that said that they don't want the collective bargaining. I think that the Conservative and the Progress Party don't dare to change that, because that would be a too big political struggle for them, because the Norwegian people, they know it, they have trust in it, and they see that it works, so they don't want to change that. That's what we see in those countries, that the big company want to break down unions. That's the first thing they take, it's the collective bargaining. As I remember, it's one of the state in US have forbidden collective bargaining by law. That's special.
But is it really necessary to forbid collective bargaining when it is so easy for an corporation to organize itself away not only from tax but also from responsibility for its workforce?
And then you're back to the political statement, the government. What kind of rules do we have in a country for employers? And of course, we have in Norway the Norwegian law for employers are strong to protect me as employed. But that's again in the countries where they want to reduce the power of the union, they take that kind of tools. They take the protection of workers by law, and then if you don't have a union, where are you going to go when your boss says the door is there, you have to go? What do you do? So you have to have that kind of protection by law in society.
But we do also have examples from the Norwegian society, for example, with the company Norwegian, where the pilot woke up one morning, literally, and found themselves having been removed and employed in a daughter company of the mother company, and on the way removing many of their rights. Just fell away.
That case is not closed yet, so we have to see. But that's one of the problems when the company reorganized themselves to increase the power of the union. And that's a strategic. But again, when the pilots, the case of the pilot, it's not closed yet. So it's still hope. But it's a very important case, because if the employers get the right to do that, we will see that more and more. And then again, the protection of the workers. But that's our skills. But we have to have as a government society that wants who is meaning the same as we are. That's not. We don't want that kind of work life. But, so we have to see when the case is closed, where we come.